What do you think of my new face?
What's up?
Yeah, that's what I thought. You know, if we played them 10 games, they might win 9 of them, but not tonight.
Hey, can you put it back in me? Right?
What the fuck is that thing? Ah! Stabby! Oh shit! Fucker! Boom! Oh! Oh shit! Oh! Oh no! What the fuck? That thing is fire! Oh!
Folks, and don't forget an apple a day keeps the content at bay.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to our first episode of Game Review. Do we have a name for this, guys?
I think that was it. Game review.
Game Review. Yep, perfect.
Yeah.
We're very creative here.
The game review.
Yes, the Game Review. This is...
The only ones doing game reviews in this format, I'm sure.
Oh my god, we're fucking entrepreneurs and innovators here, as you guys can see. For those of you guys who don't know, up in the upper right, I guess this might not be where he is, but we have Teabag Tycoon. If you could wave, Mod Teabag Tycoon is here, and Mod King Giver is here. We're going to be doing this new thing where we set out. We're actually going to have one more person, Mod Helpsy, who will be joining us. He did commit to it. We're going to be having one more person into this, but we're going to be playing co-op games, probably, maybe 2 co-op games a month or something like that. We're going to put in some time into it, and then we're going to review it, rate it on a scale of 10, and kind of just give our final thoughts on it, whether people should buy it, whether they shouldn't buy it. And the first game that we came across that we wanted to review was this not new game, but a newer game that came out not too long ago called Content Warning. For those of you who have no idea what Content Warning is, it is a up to 4-player co-op game. It's the proximity chat, much like Lethal Company. It's based on like a 3-day system thing where instead of going in and facing all these scary things and collecting items, you go in and you have a video camera. And basically what you're trying to do is you're trying to get your friends killed, essentially, is basically the premise of the game, and to make content out of it, to make it funny, to make it cool. That's kind of like the whole premise behind the game. There's a lot of funny quirks in there. It continues with the janky graphics that make it fun. There's a lot to it that, a lot of things you can buy in the shop. Basically, it's Lethal Company, but it's done differently. And there's going to be a lot of comparisons between Lethal Company and Content Warning. What did you guys think about that?
I guess. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I guess right off the rip, what do you guys think of the premise of it, where it's not you're collecting things and getting money or whatever. It's this whole recording, like this found footage thing, and trying to get views on SpookTube.
I actually like it better, I think. I like that you don't necessarily have to like constantly be like scanning in a way, and be like frantically looking for like bits and pieces on the ground. And then, not finding anything sometimes in a dead end with a monster and you just get kind of fucked. Like, but also it does kind of suck sometimes when you lose that camera and then you just kind of like you don't get the fun video at the end.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
So it is kind of a bummer in that sense that like that is kind of your currency.
Yeah.
And it's like the most important thing, but
yeah.
I do like the filming aspect.
Yeah, I think the premise is super fun because part of this whole thing with like Lethal Company and these types of games is that they're kind of already streamer bait, right? The whole thing is that you're getting these fun natural reactions out of people, and there's scary moments and there's funny things. And so it's kind of fun that they're leaning into it, like, hey, the whole premise of the game is that you're making YouTube videos, and there's plenty of people that are already, making YouTube videos of the game.
Yeah.
Which is kind of fun. Um, what do you think, buddy?
I think the concept of the game is brilliant. To be completely honest, I do have to agree with what the last point that T-Bag was making though. Like I have a feeling that they're gonna need to add something else in there. Like they have those items on the ground, and there's really
Yeah.
there's no tutorial to the game. It kind of just tells you go and make content, and you don't know what gets you views. You don't know if those items on the ground do anything. I feel like they need to add something else in there that is going to incentivize people. I don't know what it's going to be, like how they're going to do it. Um, Maybe those items people can pick up and like hold on to them, and you get like special, you get money from it or something like that, rather than views. You can get money for it for items and stuff. I just feel like the camera being the sole thing, like if the person with the camera doesn't make it out, you don't get anything from it. Like the other two people can survive, but you don't get shit. It's basically a lost day at that point. I feel like that's my biggest complaint about the game is that aspect of it. Well, I guess it's not my biggest complaint, but it is one of the top ones where you don't have the camera. That's the only way that you're gonna get anything. And it almost, to be completely honest, it almost feels like the other two people who don't have the camera, they don't serve much of a purpose other than to get killed and like be in bad situations, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was wondering, I don't know, like you said, because there's not really like a tutorial. So like I was wondering like how they even gauge how many views you get off of it at the end there. Like I know it says record spooky stuff, but like if you read the chat, it's like you can kind of get a grasp on what the viewers want off of that, but it's like the same things over and over again. And it's usually like, oh, I wonder if they're a good friend, or like, oh wow, they're really loud, and it's like, well, yeah, no shit, kind of thing. But like, what the fuck does the good friend thing mean? Like, what does that mean? like
Yeah.
like we're just trying to do the craziest things to get like a good clip or whatever,
Yeah.
the however
I
long it is at the end, but like it doesn't really define what's better, what's not. Not that saying that I want it to be that way, because it kind of ruins doing the goofy shit too, having like knowing the algorithm, so to speak. But I don't know.
Yeah. I think that actually is my biggest complaint with the game, is that the objective is kind of unclear. Like you said in the top left, all it says is film something spooky, right?
Yeah,
Um, and you kind of get some direction when you get the feedback on the comments on the video. Um, but yeah, you don't know whether doing something actually gets you more views or more money. There's plenty of times when you'll have, clear footage of a monster and then, no comments or anything.
yeah,
Um, so I'm kind of torn on it because I feel like it's kind of meant to be like this meta commentary on being a YouTuber where you're like, you know, nobody actually knows what's going to bring in all the views, and that's
Right.
the difficulty of being a
yeah.
YouTuber. From a game design perspective, I don't particularly love it, but I think I can kind of see the direction they were going with it.
I think what's really funny as well is um, one of the reasons why we had so much fun with it is almost exactly what we're talking about, why we don't like it. Because we don't know what the fuck we're doing, right? Like
Yeah,
Lethal Company,
Yeah.
for example, I started to not, it started to get wear off on me once we had seen everything, right? Like once we'd seen the monsters, we knew what they did, we knew what they were capable of, and that's why when we got to those other worlds, it was a lot more fun because we didn't know what the fuck what was going on. But like this game, not only do we not know the maps, we don't know the monsters. Well, we kind of do, but they were new when we were doing this. Um,
Yeah.
but we also had no fucking idea what was funny. I mean, we spent, probably 30 seconds of our camera roll not filming anything related to what we were supposed to be
right.
filming. So like
Yeah.
that kind of fun stuff. I think that's what also makes it fun at the same time is, not having a clear defined objective and just being like, let's just fucking go in front of the green screen and fuck around and see what works and what doesn't work. So a lot of games these days are ruined by having the clear meta. Like here's what you need to do to maximize, like min-maxing every game when it comes to that kind of thing. I kind of enjoy this game because of that reason, but at the same time, not having, they are so broad with their objective that it does kind of get frustrating where it's like, holy fuck, man, I thought this video was gonna kill, and it got just as many as the last one where we just fucked around the whole time. So
Yeah.
I'm also curious about the video length time. Like from what I've noticed is it doesn't matter what you do, just record all of the time. Like do not stop the recording early. If you have 10 seconds left, film something. Like it doesn't matter what it is, because that viewership keeps going up for the 10 seconds, right? So I think that for anyone who's setting out on the game, make sure you use all 60 seconds of your video. And I think it would be a lot cooler if they added in another video camera as well, so there could be two people with video cameras, and
Or just like a longer battery.
yeah,
I
or
think.
that, yeah.
Because I feel like
Yeah.
it's really, I mean, I'm fucking terrible at the camera work, right? Sorry for swearing there. I don't know if can I swear, but
We can hit. Somebody can pull out the soundboard and beep it out.
There we
yeah,
go.
no,
Have you
I
seen
just
that guy stream? There's no cursing allowed.
I don't know, like it just seemed like even when I was using it, it just wasn't. I just wish it was a little bit more battery charged than like a flashlight or something, just to kind of like make you want to be down there longer. You know, not, I guess the O2 kind of works in tandem with that too, but like it's just like it just seems a bit like, well, I'm out of film and we still have to get out of here kind of thing. It's like I would
Right.
really like to film this, but now do I have to conserve it? And like what are we going to find, because it gets more intense like the longer you're there, it seems. So it just sucks. Like I guess on like you said, on the days that we just mess around or whatever, uh, you kind of lose some of that charge, but you can't like recharge it like any other piece of equipment, which is kind of a bummer. But I don't know if that's whatever, just to keep the video at the end shorter too. So I don't know if that's what they're trying to go for there. But I wouldn't mind a longer video if it meant, being able to stick down there longer if you actually do survive long enough and have like equipment to do that sort of thing.
Yeah. The I guess this could change. The longer we play and the more familiar we get with things. But like,
Yeah.
I felt like there was times where we went down. The first couple times we played, we were recording 45 seconds worth before anything actually happened. And then once we started to figure out what we were doing, we were conserving our camera. And by the time that we still had 45 seconds left to film, but we were running out of O2 and we were getting fucking murdered. So it didn't fucking matter. So it was like, we couldn't find that balance of like, when do you start recording? And how much should you save for certain times? Like, I feel like I never got the balance for that. I feel like I never got the balance.
Yeah, I hear you on the camera issues, because it's like you want to have fun, shooting something up top before you go down, doing some goofy intro or whatever, like a YouTuber would do. But then you get to the point where you're like, all right, we want to progress, so now can we really use this resource to have fun with it? It's kind of this dichotomy of like, I'm playing this game to have fun, I want to do this goofy bullshit. But also like I kind of want to progress, and so I need to be conservative with it. So yeah, that's one of those things where it feels to me like the whole camera aspect, the mechanic of it is kind of Content Warning's biggest strength and possibly its biggest weakness. Because the camera is really cool. This whole thing of being able to watch your videos back is so much fun. I think that's the thing this game does best. And like seeing it swinging around, and the shitty zoom in and zoom out, and everything looks janky. It does it so well. I mean, it looks just like a spooky YouTube horror video, right? Where everything's out of frame, and they're frantically, somebody's running. And so it does that really great. From a gameplay perspective, though, it kind of complicates things, and takes away from experiences that I think like Lethal Company doesn't quite suffer from.
I I think you summed it up perfectly. Biggest strength
Yeah.
and its biggest weakness. I want to ask you guys this though. So we put in, I think our time slot for each games that we go playing forward should be a minimum of 10 hours. And I'm pretty sure we put in 10 hours to this one. So we've gotten a good dose of gameplay. What do you guys? I'm going to start off with you, T-Bag. What do you think that the game can do, that can they can add? And they just had a patch recently that we played it. They added in a
Yeah.
bunch of stuff. They added in fun stuff around the house. We are not good enough to have afforded any of it because we kept dying. Um,
Yeah, that's
but
yeah, that
what
would
do you think they could add into the game that would make it more enticing? Obviously, we both said our piece on this already, that we both like the game. But what are
yeah.
some things that you think they could add in that would
I
take it
mean,
to the next level?
I think I think adding the stuff like the new environments and like pieces of equipment you could possibly use or take in with you, or even like maybe finding out there, right? Like how we found like a microphone. That's cool. Like I didn't have to pay, $300 for that. That's awesome. Great.
Right.
Like I think it should be more frequent, maybe. I don't know, but that regardless, I do like the added stuff around even like the HQ area where there's like a pool or even the green screen was sick. I think like stuff like that really kind of keeps it fun, regardless of like whatever the camera percentage like battery life thing. I think that's good to have in there. Um, they just need to work out that balance of maybe you can charge your battery on the camera or something. That would be nice to have. Or like I think they should add. I thought about this like not being able to see your video at the end, right? Like even if you fail your day, maybe you get to see the recovered footage or something. Like
Like
just
you
to
have to
kind
pay
of
for
like
it. Yeah, that would
you know
like a recovery
like
fee kind of thing. That would be funny.
not even just that, like even if you completely fail and it was like, it's all a dream at the end when you have to restart from the beginning,
Right.
like even just showing the lost footage would be kind of nice to have just because it is like kind of a bummer to be like, yeah, this is a sick video. I think this is going to be really good. Like we actually caught a bunch of stuff on camera, and even if I didn't get the points for it, I'd still like to like see how it went down
Mm.
a little bit just to like save that memory. That would be kind of a nice add, I think. But uh, I I don't know. Like, yeah, like new monsters and such. I mean, we even saw that with the patch, or just with the ship, and then the caves. There's just shit we didn't even know existed. So I mean, if they can like consistently keep doing that, I guess it would. I think that would be a benefit for everybody. But there's definitely things they need to work on in between that, with like money wise versus viewership wise versus like am I even going to be able to like try any of these new things because I can't get the money for it and stuff like that. I think that's got to be worked out. I think before just adding a bunch of stuff because it's just kind of a also sucks just not be able to use half the stuff
Yeah.
because you don't know how the game works essentially. But
What
yeah,
about you, King Gibber?
Um, I, I feel like something needs to change in kind of um maybe the core gameplay mechanic. One of my big complaints is that um it it kind of seems like the game discourages splitting up. Like there's really not much of a reason for somebody to be away from the cameraman, right? They can't score points without the camera being on them, and if they die, then they're just dead in the middle of nowhere. Um, they did make a slight movement in that direction with being able to find equipment on the ground. I think that was a good addition where you are encouraged to explore a little bit on your own. Um, but something like a second camera or something like that, I think would be good. So like my favorite moments in like Lethal Company, for example, is you know it, you're encouraged to split up to explore more of the factory to get more loot or whatever. And I always love those moments where you're off doing your own thing, and then way off in the distance you hear faintly like, "Oh shit, what the fuck is that?" And then
Right.
you know,
Right.
somebody comes
Right.
running into your room, or you
Yeah.
go over there and you see a dead body, and you're like, "What the hell happened here?"
Right.
And so, those sorts of moments are always good, but in content warning where, you're kind of meant to stick together next to the cameraman, you don't get those moments. And I feel like it would be so fun to, hear somebody screaming from the other room and then they come running in and there's a monster chasing after them or something like that.
Right.
So finding some sort of gameplay mechanics to encourage that sort of thing, I think would be good. I don't know. I don't know if I'm the only one that feels this way. I hate the maps in this game. You guys have thoughts on that?
Oh my god, dude, that
I,
fucking the maze thing is one of the most frustrating things to
yeah,
me.
I
Yeah.
I think it's cool that they have different environments. Also, don't like how difficult it is to get around them. I feel like we barely get out the. Okay, I'm just gonna say like the intensity of the monsters to it. Sometimes it's like we start off in the worst possible scenario,
Right.
right?
Hmm.
Like
Butcher
there's
girl
no
right
like
outside the
just
door.
ease into it a little bit, yeah. But like, and that just makes it extremely difficult to get like the boat. Like you said, getting stuck in that maze of rooms. So we just didn't know where the hell we were. And it's just like so hard to navigate that when you're like
They need
barely move around it and you're
they
getting,
need to do something
chased.
for the shuttle. Um, it's this kind of goes into the whole map thing though too. But like, I don't like the maps because you don't feel like you can go very far because it's so fucking hard to find the shuttle. Like in content warning or in Lethal Company, you were inside somewhere and then you had to go outside. But the outside, you knew that it was out there somewhere, right? Where in this game,
Yep.
you land that space shuttle basically like there's not an outside for some of the spots that you land, right? There's a platform, like for example, that one spot where you tried to throw the camera up. Like
Mm.
that was a little area that we needed. There was one entrance, one way to get there, and everything else there was no other way. So like we didn't want to go
Yeah.
anywhere, right? We wanted to stay as
Hmm.
close as we could. Otherwise, you're not getting back. I agree. I think that part of the map design is kind of shitty, where it's like the where where the ship lands kind of dictates what you can do is essentially
Yep.
where in Lethal Company um, we every anything worth finding was inside the building, and then you had to come outside of the building and you knew the shuttle was out there, where here
Hmm.
it's like yeah, and there was multiple different exits. They would all lead you outside in Lethal Company, where in this game it's kind of like there's one way to get to your shuttle, and if you don't know where you are, you're kind of fucked, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, I agree. The map is kind of weird. I would say
Yeah.
my biggest thing for adding stuff into the game would be I feel like the items in the game right now are kind of useless. Um, like really the only two things that I think we found a use for them.
Funny.
Funny, hilarious, right?
Yeah.
Great.
I think the shock stick
Yeah.
and the defibs were the only things that we actually made use of, right?
Yeah, because what did even like because even under the medic tab and there's an emote for a hug. Does that even
Yo,
like does that like
I have
heal?
no
Does that
idea.
heal your teammates if you hug them or
Probably
something?
heals, I
I,
would
I wanted
guess.
to try that, but I was like, that's like it was like $600.
Yeah,
I was like,
it was
Jesus
so
fucking
Yeah.
Christ, I'm
expensive.
never gonna get that.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
and then that's just one thing. Like,
It doesn't give an explanation for the items. Like that's another thing. Like if you're gonna have such a high price for these things, at least tell me what it does, so I don't
yeah,
buy it
yeah,
and then just have it be just a hug emote. Like it could very well just be a hug emote. Like I don't know, it might. But like some of this stuff like the boomstick, for example, like we bought it and we used it and I think we used it. We had no idea what it
yeah.
did. Like no
It,
idea
it
what it did.
Yeah.
it was
Clapper
Yeah,
was
the
very
just funny.
clapper,
touchy. I
right?
will say it did work when you have the end of it sticking right into something. It is loud as hell.
Okay,
But other than that, like when you're trying to film with that, like I can't get that close to you. We're all
right,
running in different directions,
right.
man. Like, it's like it's difficult to use. It does
Yeah.
work technically, but I don't know how it translates to like the actual film that you're doing. I don't
Yeah.
think it really
What's the
benefits
use
at
case? Is
all.
it is it to try and like locate where monsters are by like listening for their stomping? Does it get you more views because of higher quality or something like that?
Yeah, I
Some
don't
sort of
know.
indication would be nice.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I that I don't. Yeah, I want to say I didn't feel like it picked up any monsters when I was using it,
Yeah.
but
it was funny to
it did
watch.
catch on literally every single
Yeah, that was funny.
corner of the the environment. It would just like I couldn't get through certain doorways if I had it equipped. And I did try and like run at a creature with it to like kind of like joust it, and it
Mhm.
did not. It just made a big thump noise, like when you
Yeah.
drop a mic on the ground, and then I just died. So
Yeah.
it doesn't work for that either.
All right.
Can confirm.
Do we have anything else? Everyone's going to get a time here to kind of give their final verdict on the game and give it a score. Do we want to discuss anything else before we get into that? We're at 25 minutes, so we're actually doing really good on time right now. Do we want to add anything else? Any other weird things that we experienced?
What do you guys think of kind of like the aesthetic design of it, kind of the art style, any sound direction, anything of that sort? I can start here. I really like the juxtaposition of, you know, you wake up and it's this bright, colorful world. There's trees, there's grass, there's apples, everything is happy. And then you hop into this diving bell and you go down and it's just this monochromatic, dark, crazy looking place where it's like, holy shit, all right, we flipped the switch mighty quick here. I think that's super fun.
I
I
agree.
like that. Yes,
Yeah.
I like the just like diving into a hellish place that's just looked like someone took a pen and scribbled all over it kind
Yeah.
of thing, where there's things are coming at you, and it's I think like it helps with especially with the spooky aspect of just black and
Mhm.
white kind of things, and you're like, did something move over there? I don't know. Is that
Yeah.
at times you just kind of like second guess yourself, but no, I really like it. I really like the art
I
in the
I,
Yeah.
game.
I got to give the monsters prop. I
Yeah.
mean, fucking Blender Man might be one of the funniest things I've ever seen in my fucking life. That
Yeah.
motherfucker revs up like a race car and just comes flying. And he's
Yeah.
literally a fucking blender head. Like even like the witch, like the spooky witch and stuff like that, with the knife that chases you around.
Yeah.
I agree. The art style in the game I think is a lot of fun. I love how you can customize your face. Um, like
Yeah,
that's a
cool.
fun little thing. Um, yeah, I think that aspect of the game is top notch. It makes it fun. Um, I never really thought about it that way, where you're like, yeah, everything's super colorful, and then the second you open the door, it's black and white. You know,
Yeah.
not all that color is gone. Oh, that kind of leads me into another thing that I wanted to touch on. Um, I hate how you cannot see where your teammates are. Like, I think it's so hard to see who, like,
Yeah.
you have like a
Yeah.
little line of light on your back, which is your C2. Other than that, you can't see anybody down there. Like, I think that's if you're trying to force people to stay together, I think you need to have some, like, maybe they have something that lights up on their back that's a little bit more visible. I had a tough time finding where you guys were, just because of, you know, it is black and
Yeah.
white down there, and there's really nothing that sets you apart
If you
from the
don't have your
wall.
light on, it's like,
Yeah.
okay, like
Yep, you literally can't see them at all.
Yeah, I kind of figured like that was the point of the bright, colorful faces, right? Was so that you'd be able to easily distinguish people in like the underworld area, but it just doesn't seem to be the case.
No,
yeah.
I don't even, do the faces even have color down there?
They do.
They
They do,
they do?
yeah.
Okay, I couldn't remember if they do. I was like, wait, are they black and white down there too?
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
And
I'm kind of split on the art style. I think it's super cool. The monster designs are all really fun. Once you see, you know, Whisk Man come through and then Stabby with the ghost sheet and then whatever other nonsense comes in, you're like, all right, I have no idea what's gonna pop up next. So I like that a lot, and I do think like just the dark monochromatic, it looks like, you know, Sharpie on paper sort of thing is
yeah.
cool. But I think that's also what contributes to the difficulty navigating the maps. which
Oh
is one
yeah.
of my biggest frustrations with the game, right? It's really hard to pick out any landmarks or any directions when everything's just black and white. And they've got a little bit of color in there with like the lanterns on the new map, but
Yeah.
it's frustrating because I like the art design a lot, aesthetically, but it causes problems navigating, which makes the game a little bit unfun in that regards.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
I'd agree with that. As good as pleasing as it is to see or walk through, it is kind of it sucks to be like, oh fuck, what way do we turn, or like what room is this, and
Yeah,
getting stuck in that.
It,
It very well traps you in those in those like the boat where we just couldn't find our way out of the doors because like I don't know, it all looks the same, and I took
yeah.
multiple turns in a panic, so now I'm just kind of screwed, kind of
And that
thing.
might be like intended to be part of the experience. It might be a skill issue thing. I don't know. I don't like it personally.
I think
Yeah,
you
yeah,
can see it on the scale though. So like in Lethal Company, you know, they have law. There's the difference between the two is you can get lost in Lethal Company very easy, but it doesn't feel the same as getting lost in this game because in Lethal Company everything's a long hallway that has many lefts or rights, but it's wide hallway. You're not in a tight space where there's tight turns every inch. Like what we were experiencing that one time, we
in the caves.
literally we were butt to butt. There was no room for people to pass each other, and we just couldn't figure out where the fuck we were going. And it didn't, and it felt claustrophobic. Like I felt like I was like where the fuck are we? Like I could not figure it out. Where like in Lethal Company, I never had that feeling because you might get lost, but it feels like you're going somewhere in Lethal Company. Where in
Yeah,
Content Warning, it just felt like we were in the same spot over and over. Um, that I that map, that specific spot on that map, I did not like. I did not like that at all.
Yeah.
I
Well,
will
and I think
say.
that's
Oh,
sorry, go
sorry.
ahead.
I was just gonna say, like, I think another big issue is just like Lethal Company, right? It's not essentially you have a battery, except for your equipment, but like you have the day night cycle. So that's like your kind of indicator to like get the fuck out, right? Like that's what you live and die by. But like the intensity in that day night cycle only gets bad when it's like, kind of closing the day off, which is totally separate from what you find inside, but I'm just kind of pulling that and bringing it to here, right? So like in Content Warning, sometimes we were starting off and we would just get a shitty start, like just like there was a harpoon gun lady that
I
chased us
forgot
away
about
into
that.
more enemies,
Yeah.
and then one time we found a mime that just killed me, like, and it just started off really hot, like there was no like, okay, let's get in there. Let's kind of like explore a little bit. And sometimes it would just be like, nope, you're all gonna die. Like you're all gonna die right now, which kind of sucks a bit. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's all.
Um, Something I wanted to touch on like the whole navigating from Lethal Company compared to Content Warning. I think that's another thing that would kind of get fixed by giving some more freedom in splitting up the group, right? In
Yeah.
Content Warning, you're all going together, so you find your way out together or you get lost together. Where Lethal Company, there's plenty of times where like you might be completely fucking lost in that factory, but then, since everybody's exploring differently, you're going to run into somebody and be like, oh, hey, I found a fire exit over this way. We can get the hell out over
Right.
here. You cover more ground and find more ways out, which I like a lot.
Do we what I don't know if any of you guys did. Did we figure out how long, you know, a a game of Content Warning versus a game of Lethal Company, like a day in Content Warning versus a day in Lethal Company? It seemed like Content Warning was much shorter than that the time that you get to do stuff in Lethal Company. Am I wrong in thinking that? I have no idea, but it just felt shorter.
I
I
think
actually don't know. I agree that it does feel a bit
I
shorter.
think it does only because of that, because you're literally in a fixed day and night cycle in Lethal Company versus however long your battery goes, man, in Content Warning. So sometimes you could be, like you said, fucking around and then not get as much footage down below, and then everybody dies and you're like, well, okay, I got to get out with this camera.
Right.
and because I'm already out, so it might be shorter than that. Might feel shorter that way because you're not having that no, this is day and night cycle. You could leave early in Lethal Company too, but like you're usually all in there, right? You're all have to go far away from the drop ship and then make it back
Right.
within that time. Like it's always going to be the same in that sense, where the camera is kind of up in the air sometimes, not as fixated on a certain time limit.
Yeah, that is a good point because in Lethal Company, yeah, in Lethal Company, you have until midnight, and if your camera runs out in content warning, there's no reason to stay, right? Then you
No,
just get
but
the
you
fuck
could
out,
stay down there though. Is the
right?
thing. Like you could
Right,
make it long as shit,
right,
probably.
right. All right, that's
Yeah.
interesting. Um, all right, as we get here into this final portion, I will remind you this is our first review, and a 10 is the pristine score. Okay, so as we get into this review, we give it a rating. Keep in mind that we have a lot of stuff. If we set this at a 10, that means that it is the best game that we've played, essentially. So keep that in mind when we're giving this a score. You can give it like a 7.5 if you want. It doesn't need to be a strict 7 or whatever. But what I want from this is I want you guys to give kind of your final verdict of the game. Whatever that entitles, whether it's pros and cons, whatever you might have for it, and then kind of just wrap it up with the score. We'll start with you, T-Bag. Go ahead and kind of give us your final verdict and the score on it.
For me, well, I was gonna be funny, but I'll just do 6.5.
Okay.
I'll let your imagination run with what I was originally gonna pick, but I am knocking it down
I
from
can
what I
follow the
previously
thread.
said on stream because I did say 7, but that was just after like a couple hours playing because it was just really fun to me. I think now, kind of picking apart some of the things that it could do better, uh, to whatever we were saying with like battery to map design to like just maybe the art style, maybe lightening it up, maybe changing the textures or somewhat just to make it kind of easier and all these different ways, even with the purchasing system that they have. I still think it's a really fun game, even with all like the problems it's gonna have. But I think it's above average in my book, I guess, as far as co-op, like play with your friends games go, because it is just fun to do. There are just hangups, which sucks, and that just knocked it down a bit for me. Uh, but yeah, 6.5. I think I'll stick with that because I think it's going in a good direction. Hopefully.
Yep. You can give it. What do you think?
Um, yeah, I actually agree. The 6.5 was the number I had in mind before even hearing you. Yeah, I think it does a lot of things really well, particularly the camera and the whole gimmick of you're recording videos, you get to watch them back. That's super fun. Um, I I think if you're gonna play this sort of game, having a good, fun group of friends that can have fun with it is really important. And if you have that, I think it's definitely worth a pickup and putting some hours into, especially if it's. I got it for free 99, so let me throw that out there real quick here before I
I
say
think it's
anything.
$7. I think.
Yeah,
Seven
it's
ninety nine. Yeah,
it's
I mean,
cheaper.
certainly you can definitely get your money's worth out of fun with it there. Um, I don't think it's been any secret as we've gone through this that I think Lethal Company is better. I just think it's a better time. But if you really like this camera thing and you want to experience it for yourself, if you think there's fun, goofy things you can do with your friends, definitely pick it up. It's worth a try. It's worth every cent in that. I think there's a lot of improvements that it could make in the future, and given how quickly this came out April 1st, and given how quickly that first content patch came out, and the breadth of the things that they added, I think there's a lot of room for growth for it. I'm curious to see where it goes in the future. But as of right now, yeah, I would give it a rating of 6.5. I rate things maybe a little harshly, but with 5 being an average experience, it's above average. It's fun. It's a good time for a couple hours.
I'm going to be the funny guy. I'm going to give it a 6.9. Okay.
That's what I was gonna
I'll
do.
give it a 6.9. And I'm going to give it a
Damn.
6.9 for a couple different reasons. One, for the price, you can get countless hours of fun in. Um, Now, and I'm going to preface this by saying this too. I I really do think that this game could get up to an 8. I really do think that this game could skyrocket. Like if we went back and did this in a year, kind of just what King Giver was saying there, with how quickly they came out with the first patch. I think if we revisit this game in a year, we might be changing our scores and bumping them up. I guess we could be bringing them down too, but at the same time, I do think that the direction of the game can only improve. Um, but the reason why I'm giving it 6.9 is for the price. You can definitely get your bang for your buck here. I think the co-op experience of the funny voice comm thing where it's like you're not in Discord, you are proximity chat. I think that is done excellent in this game as it is in Lethal Company. But the whole camera thing, I think just watching the video back with your friends, that probably gave it above the average score right there for me. That was fucking hilarious. Remember the first time we sat down on the couch and we're like, wait, are we actually gonna we get to watch back our experience? Like that was funny as shit, fun as fuck. I do think that the reason why I'm not giving it above that is for what we kind of laid out earlier. Is there are some frustrating aspects of the game as far as like if you don't have the camera, it kind of feels like you're useless. The maps themselves, they are, I would say that they are kind of below average right now. I think the maps could be better, but I do think that the what they do well, they do very well. The monsters, like I said earlier, monsters are fucking fantastic. um, we were still coming across stuff on our 10th hour of playing the game that we hadn't seen in our 10 hours prior. So maybe there's more that we just didn't encounter. But I think for the price point, and for the amount of hours you can get out of it for that price point, it doesn't seem necessarily like an endless loop because the objective is kind of up to you essentially. Like, what do you find funny? What do you find scary? So there's so much replayability. It would be interesting to see, as this game, the longer it comes out. I said this originally, how you can almost make a good production value clips from this, like a minute long production value clip. And we might start seeing this shit popping up on TikTok and YouTube shorts where it's literally the camera work within the game turned into a minute long, short. I think that's great. I'm giving it a little bit higher score than these guys just because I not only did I have fun with it, but I also see the potential that's there. Hopefully they capitalize on it. But yeah, I would say overall, it was a great co-op game. Grab a group of buddies. If you don't have any friends, by the way, that's too bad because then you can't play the game. I guess you can
Go
play
back
by
to being
yourself.
silver in league.
Yeah. Jesus
League's always got
Christ.
its arms open for you.
Yeah. All right.
Never left.
But I guess that is a con of the game. There's no like you can't hook up with people online. You need friends to play, right?
Yeah, it's
Oh, do
very
you?
much a
I didn't know
co-op.
that.
I don't think that there's
Yeah.
a lobby browser.
Okay. Does
Like
Lethal
to
Company have
join
that?
up.
I don't think it does. I don't think either
Oh,
do.
really? Okay. I haven't tried playing with randoms. I thought you could. I'm sure there's, like Discord communities or whatever
Yeah.
that you can find games and people to play with.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's usually like ways to find
Yeah.
groups for stuff like this.
Yeah.
So yeah, overall we got a 6.5 from King Giver. We got a 6.5 from Teabag, and I'm giving it a 6.9. Like I said, we all agree. If you have a group of friends, you're looking for some cheap fun, this game is for you. I promise you guys will get your money's worth out of it. And yeah, do you guys have anything that you guys want to close up with? Any final words on it?
Yes, one thing.
Uh-oh.
It's a personal request to the developer.
Oh.
Well, it's just stupid to say, but it's just like I said before, I just really wish like even if you failed everything and you lost the cameras a couple of days, I even if you could like select which one, if you don't want to watch them all, I get that, but like it would be kind of fun to see the like reclaimed video, even if it doesn't progress you anymore. Just kind of as like oh, you screwed up, but like here's the stuff you kind of missed out on. just as an option, maybe that would be kind of
Yeah.
nice.
I think
But
that it would kind of be like
because that's like the main thing, right? Like
right.
I want to see that, even if we didn't make it back. I want to see that fucking video.
They could almost just
Yeah.
like take that ending screen that they have, where it's like you wake up and then like it just like plays like short video clips of what you recorded. So it's like not the
Yeah, that'd
whole
be
thing
great.
for a minute, but it's like just bits and pieces of what was going on, like what you
Yeah,
actually missed out on. Yeah, that'd be a fun concept. I don't know how hard it is to implement that, but
yeah. I
Yeah.
don't know.
you
It's
heard him, devs over there. He wants to
nah. They're
see
not gonna
his
do shit.
videos.
I don't care. No, I'm
We
just
had
I
if they actually added it, I'd be happy, really happy.
we had
I
one experience where the camera we had to recover the camera and King Giver went and got it, and he had like maybe 30 seconds to get all the way from the bottom all the way to the top. And this is what we were talking about with the map design. Like we knew he wasn't going to be able to do it. So what we had him do, there was a little crack in the ground, and we tried to have him throw the camera because you can throw items in this game. Also, another fun mechanic. You can throw shit.
Yeah,
Which we
that's
should we
cool.
should definitely see if we can throw stuff at monsters next time we play. If a monster's
Yeah,
coming at us, pick up like a bone and throw it at him and see if it does anything. Um, and he threw the camera up and we almost got it, and then it just fell into the abyss. And like we had a
yeah.
lot of good footage on that camera. There was a lot of good
yeah,
footage on that camera. So yeah, it would have been a lot of fun to see that.
yeah. Stuff
There
like that.
is
Yeah,
there is apparently, I looked on Steam, some way to like recover the video, like digging through your computer's files, in like
Oh,
a folder or whatever. But like, yeah, that's not the way you want to go about that. Having
yeah,
some way in game to actually do that instead of having to hack your way through it, would be a much better solution.
yeah.
all right.
Um, I had something, unless you want to wrap it up here.
No, go ahead.
No, go for it.
And maybe we can cut this in earlier or something. But I'm curious what your guys' thoughts are on kind of this genre of game, kind of this sort of party game, proximity chat horror sort of thing. Um, because I'm really enjoying it, and I hope to see more stuff like this in the future. I think there's a lot of cool things they can do. The, kind of the history of it, the way I see it, and probably I'm missing some stuff. But it feels like it kind of started with Phasmo, right? That was the first game where it was like you're playing in a group and it's I'm going dark in Discord and we're talking in the game. And it has kind of that proximity thing. It didn't really do what like Lethal Company and Content Warning are doing, because it was more of using the mic to talk to the ghost. But you know, you had like your walkie-talkies and that sort of thing. And then from there, maybe there's something in the gap, but to me, the next big one was Lethal Company, which I think did that sort of thing super well. And then obviously here we are at Content Warning.
I uh
Uh,
I
yeah,
think it's interesting that like this phasmophobia is very much like not it uses the same principles of like proximity chat group play co-op, but it's very more serious than these two games. And so I'd be interested to see if like a big time developer, and I'm not talking like a AAA studio, but I'm talking like if that kind of gimmick would work in like an actual scary like full on graphics scary game, like where you take the principles of the maps where you go in and you have an objective, whatever it may be. You go into these maps and like it's actual, not like janky graphics, which adds fun to it. But like, how scary can you get with this like prox chat thing? Because I think the co-op scary games in general, I think is an untapped market. I was listening to somebody talk about like games become a lot less scary when you're playing with friends because then it becomes more of like funny jokes and shit like that. But at the same
Hmm.
time, like there's still times where like get spooked out and stuff like that. Like in Phasmophobia, there was a few times where Teabag and I were in the bathroom and the fucking ghost came through the door and he didn't see him and I screamed and scared him in real
Yeah,
life because he could hear me from the
yeah,
other room. Um,
yeah,
but like I'm interested to see if they go down that path or if it's just going to be like janky fun games like this. I enjoy it a lot. I really do. Just because I
yeah.
like co-op games and I don't think that
Hmm.
they're being made that often anymore. So I am a big proponent for it.
yeah. These are like two of my top favorite genres, I guess, like just horror and being able to play it with your friends.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because like that just makes it, like you said, it becomes more funny once you get like kind of adjusted to whatever you're seeing.
Right.
Yep.
Certainly, like even with Lethal Company, knowing what most of the creatures do and stuff like that, just becomes less scary as it goes. But um, I think, yeah, I know. I think I want to see more. I want more of this kind of stuff. It kind of sucks that there's only two that are
Yeah.
like popular right now, or
Yeah.
in the last little while here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited to see. I hope this like spurs some kind of inspiration. Like I didn't expect this to ever be a thing. So hopefully
Right.
somebody kind of starts pumping these out. I wouldn't complain.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of interesting, cool things that they could do with like the proximity chat and the mic mechanics. I'm trying to
Yeah.
think. I'm curious if either of you guys remember this. I feel like there was a Call of Duty game, and I want to say it was Black Ops 2, where when you got a kill, you could hear like a second of the guy that you killed's mic.
Yeah.
Does that sound familiar?
Yeah, they still have that. They still have
Yeah, I
That
parts.
think they
shit
still
is
got
so
that.
funny.
Yeah.
You get a kill and you just hear motherfucker. It's like
Yeah.
cuts off halfway through, and you can just like hear the genuine emotion. And you're like, that shit is so
Oh,
good.
I pissed
Hot
them
mics
off.
in games are so funny to me. Um, and so that's why like I like this sort of thing. You still like the first time you see a new monster, a lot of times like if it scares you, you'll get a genuine reaction. Like that's where you hear something from the different room in Lethal Company. Um, so yeah, I think there's a
Yeah.
lot of cool things that they could do with, especially like doing things to kind of mess with people. We kind of had this notion going into Lethal Company that like it was gonna keep one of your voice recordings and play it back as like an imposter monster, and I don't think that ever actually
I think it
did
was just a
happen.
mod. There's a
Oh,
certain
okay.
They did.
people
They,
modded it in, I think.
yeah, they didn't do it with the voice. They did it with turn your character
Your
into a
whole
monster.
body.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But I think they can do cool things with the voice. One of our
Yeah.
favorite gags from Lethal Company was getting zooted. You remember that?
Yeah.
Where it changes the pitch on your voice. Doing stuff like that. I had this idea for a game that was kind of spurned from Phasmo, where it would be, heavily based on voice stuff and maybe a co-op thing. And I thought a cool thing would be like instead of being able to talk directly, you'd have to like record messages and send them to each other through, I don't know, like a weird walkie-talkie thing. But then occasionally, like it would get corrupted and get demonic, or maybe if you're in a room with bad signal, it would be all garbled and something like that. So I think that there's cool things to do with that, and um, I hope that does get pushed because it's a fun concept. Proximity chat, I will always be a fan of.
Yeah. Discord calls, like the ease of access to be able to talk to your friends now, like kind of takes away some of the gaming experience, like kind of what you're talking about, like where it used to be, you would sit in Halo lobby with 10 other people, and everyone would just be talking shit and stuff like that, and like that was some
Yeah.
like that was like some of the most fond memories of gaming, right? Like now it's
Yeah.
like you go into a Discord call with your team, and unless you have proximity, unless the game has proximity chat, are only talking to the four people, and it kind of takes away some of the experience that you get from game. Yeah, I'm interested to see how they can keep coming out with stuff like this, and see where they go with it. I do think that we need to go back and maybe pay a visit to Lethal Company again, since we just got done reviewing Content Warning. We might have to. We talked about it so many times, so we might have to go back and play. I'm sure a lot's changed since we played last. I'm sure there's been a couple patches and stuff like that.
Yeah, I'm on board.
And
Yeah,
it
I'm
helps.
down.
It helps who hasn't played that game either. So
Okay.
he would be a good
Ooh.
addition to have in there. Speaking of, is that what I wanted to end this with what game that we're going to go through next? Is that what we want to put on our or do we have one of the other ones? I know that we have a list.
We could. It might be a good idea to switch it up to something different, given that the similarities between the two. Maybe we take a little break in there and
Fair enough.
play something different. But I'm always game to play Lethal Company. I have a good time with it. So
I can't pull up the other list right now. There's some. What are the games that we have on there?
Oh dear would be fun
Oh,
for a
dear.
little while. We've got Backrooms on there. One armed cook and one armed robber. Those would be a fun time.
Yeah, I played
If
one
we
on
want to keep
Robert.
going on the
Yeah.
goofy ass game train,
Yeah.
I would definitely be down to do those.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're not going to give you a set
Add
answer
those.
today, guys. Next
Yeah.
time we do one of these,
That's right.
we'll have a set answer of what the next review will be. But I guess you'll be able to you'll know what we're doing because we'll be streaming it. So you'll see us playing whatever it is, and that will be how you can find us. For those of you, I mean, if you're watching this, odds are you know who I am. But kick.com/yourbuddy is where you can find me. You guys want to plug yourself? I know that King Giver has so many socials that he wants you to follow. So
Yeah.
T-Bag, go ahead.
Just teabag. All socials.
All
That's my link
socials.
tree.
Don't look for me. I'm not anywhere. Go follow your buddy, the man of the hour,
Yeah.
too sweet to be sour, the women's
wherever he
pet,
is.
the men's regret. If you go against him, you made a bad bet. Your buddy on Kick, your buddy on Instagram, your buddy on YouTube. Hit that subscribe button.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know what you're gonna do it anyway.
forgot about that. Make sure you like and subscribe.
Yeah.
It's free and it helps us. There we go.
Smash it.
Now we're actually content creators, my friends. We've played the game. We know what we have to do. I think we knocked it out of the park. As this goes along, guys, we are going to be doing. I don't know. As of the recording of this is very bare bones. We're going to see what I can do with the editing and adding stuff in. So the look of this and the layout might change from video to video, but the concept and the people will remain the same. We're still we only made it to day 7 in content warning, so we're not the best creators yet, but we're slowly getting better.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm worried that these reviews, it's all just gonna be skill issue bullshit. We're just bad
Yeah,
at
we're
games. We're
just
fucking
bad.
old and we suck.
We're gonna get rich at this shit. You fucking guys don't even know how to play games. Yeah, probably.
Yeah, these fucking Zoomers are gonna come in, bro. They trash. Dog
They're
water.
just bad. They're just bad at it.
Probably.
So easy.
All right. I think that's a wrap. I think that's a wrap. Good first episode.
Cool.
All right.
Right
Goodbye,
on.
everyone. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the like button. And we will catch you next
Smash.
time.